Now let's look at the multiplier effect. The multiplier effect means any change in initial spending will cause a much larger change in gross domestic product, and everything is due to this multiplier. I will show you the steps in the next slide to explain this multiplier effect. Just to let you know, this is the formula I have here. Multiplier is equal to change in real gross domestic product over the initial change in spending. So this multiplier effect works because the economy supports repetitive and continuous flows of expenses as well as income. Take a look at these numbers here. Column 1 is change in income. I will say this is the change in disposable income. Then we have change in consumption and change in savings. So this change in income is equal to change in consumption plus change in savings. Now here given to us is MPC is equal to 0.75 and MPS is equal to 0.25. Do you remember how we defined MPC and MPS? MPC is equal to change in consumption over change in disposable income. MPS is equal to change in savings over change in disposable income. Now look at the first round. There is an initial investment of $5. So the change in income is $5. I want to know how we got this 3.75 and how we got 1.25 here. My MPC is equal to 0.75. Now I'm going to relate 0.75, 3.75 and 5. And out of this income, which is $5, I'm spending 75% of $5. That means the change in consumption is 0.75 times $5. This one is equal to 3.75. MPS is equal to 0.25. So the change in savings is equal to 0.25 times $5. This one is 1.25. Or when we find out this change in consumption, we can subtract this change in consumption from change in income and we can find the change in savings. We can do it either way. Alright, so we have this change in consumption in step 1. So this change in consumption in step 1 will cause a change in income by 3.75 in step 2. We can do the same trick we did in step 1 here. That means I want to find out how we got 2.81, how we have 0.94 here. So the change in consumption in step 2 is equal to 0.75 times 3.75. Just remember, this MPC and MPS numbers will not change. This one is equal to 2.81. Change in savings, you can either multiply 0.25 times 3.75, so it's gonna be 0.25 times 3.75. I'm just making sure the calculation is right. So this will be equal to 0.94. Then this 2.81 change in consumption in step 2 goes to this step, or step 3 as change in income, and this process continues. Next, we need to find, like, we can add all these steps up and we can find the total change in income, and we found this to be equal to $20. The total change in consumption from all these successive rounds is $15, and the change in the cumulative change in savings is $5. Now this looks like a lot of calculation here. Definitely I'm gonna use some easy formula to compute the multiplier and to find out the final change in here. From here, what do we have here? Final change in gross domestic product. Okay, the formula for the multiplier is equal to 1 over 1 minus MPC. Now, what else do we need? I need the initial change in spending or the initial investment, and this one is equal to $5. Next step, I know my MPC is equal to 0.75. So this is what I do here. 1 over 1 minus 0.75 is equal to 1 over 0.25 times 5. So 1 over 0.25 is 4 times 5, and this whole thing is equal to $20. Okay, that's what we just got here. So that's what we also got by doing this successive rounds of change in income. So in the exam, what will happen is I will give you the value of the MPC. So this MPC value will be given to you, which is 0.75 here. This initial change in income or investment will be given to you, and you are supposed to find this final change in gross domestic product. So what we see here is the final change in real gross domestic product, which we found out as $20. This is more than the initial change in spending, which is equal to $5. This happened because of the multiplier effect, and this is because the economy really supports this continuous flow of expenses, income over successive steps. Okay, so here we can look at some other things here. The multiplier and MPC, these are directly related. Larger MPC results in larger increase in spending, and the multiplier and MPS are inversely related. Larger MPS, that means larger marginal propensity to save, will lead to smaller increases in spending. Okay, that's all we have for this chapter. Thank you very much.